Hi everybody, it's Terry Ryder from hotspotting.com.au bringing you this week's edition of Hotspot of the Week, and today I'm going to focus on a significant location in the Adelaide market. We've been pushing Adelaide real estate quite a bit in recent weeks, firstly because we think it's one of the most underrated markets in the country, underpinned by one of the most surprisingly strong economies in capital city Australia, and we think that market is going to surprise many people with the growth it's going to achieve this year and beyond, based on its affordability, its great value for money, and most significantly the underpinning of an economy that's strong and getting stronger, according to a host of different reports, including one that came out from ANZ Bank. They published their regular stateometer, and they found that the strongest of the state and territory economies in the last quarter has been South Australia, which is fundamentally driven by what's going on in Adelaide. So there's a particular precinct at Adelaide that I want to focus on tonight, and it's the city of West Torrens, the local government area of West Torrens. And what we like about this location is that it's right on the doorstep of the CBD. In fact, it's between the CBD and the beaches, beautifully located, but prices are amazingly low relative to the location. Offers great affordability. A lot of suburbs there with median house prices in the 500,000s and apartments in the 300 and 400,000s. So relative to its location right on the doorstep of the Adelaide CBD, great value for money and amazing affordability. The Adelaide CBD is going through a bit of a renaissance. A multi-billion-dollar building boom is happening in central Adelaide, fueled by the tourism sector and by international education. New hotels are being built, new office towers, some new apartment towers as well, and numerous student accommodation projects. And that all brings benefit to the city of West Torrens because it adjoins the western boundary of the Adelaide CBD. And it's driving the property market there, particularly the apartment market. It's interesting to note that 36% of households actually rent in this local government, so that's above average, and 35% live in units, and that's a sign that this is very much a market where there's quite a lot of young people renting because of the proximity to the CBD and universities and other desirable things. We're seeing what appears to be remarkable growth in median prices in the unit market. A little bit misleading, but I'll talk about that in a little while. The key thing is the location and the value for money, the relative affordability. So the LGA of West Torrens, it abuts the western edge of the Adelaide CBD. It's home to Adelaide's airport. It's close to the beaches a little bit to the west, and very close to the CBD just to the east. And that means it's close to the Royal Adelaide Hospital, it's close to the University of Adelaide, it's close to the Art Gallery of South Australia. It's primarily a residential area, but there's pockets of industry, and it's also got, as I said, Adelaide's domestic and international airport. Lots of sporting complexes there. There's a couple of golf courses, the Adelaide Shore Football Complex, South Australian Aquatic Sciences Centre, and nearby are beaches such as Glenelg and Henley Beach. If you're living in the local government area of West Torrens, you're pretty close with easy access to things like the Harbour Town Shopping Centre, the City Master Stadium, the Adelaide Airport Stadium. There's a netball stadium, an athletic stadium, and all sorts of other major infrastructure. But primarily it's about proximity to this Adelaide CBD, where there's about 40 projects currently under construction or in the pipeline, expected to start in the next year or so. And not surprisingly, the majority of the residents of this particular area work in the nearby CBD. So the property market, there's a number of outstanding characteristics. The first thing that stands out is the incredibly low vacancies. So one of the postcodes in the this local government area has 0 vacancies according to the latest figures. There are also 3 other postcodes which have vacancies below 1%, and then all the other postcodes have got vacancies between 1% and 1.5%. So every postcode in this local government area has got a maximum vacancy rate of 1.5%, and most of them are lower than that. So that's an incredibly tight rental market. And that's reflected in pretty good yields, particularly in the unit market. Many of the suburbs have median rental yields somewhere between 4.5% and 5%, which is quite attractive, particularly compared to the 2 biggest capital cities in Australia. The next thing that stands out is the affordability factor. We've got, within this local government area, we've got suburbs like Brooklyn Park, Camden Park, Marlston, Mile End and Torrensville. They've all got median house prices in the 500,000s, mostly in the low to mid 500,000s. And then you've got a number of other suburbs like Fulham, Glandore, Glenelg North, Lockleys, with the median prices somewhere in the 600,000. So relative to the proximity to the CBD and to the beach is not far away. That's great value for money. Then we look at the apartment market. There are some suburbs where median unit prices are in the high 200,000s or low 300,000s, but most of them are somewhere in the sort of low to mid 400,000s. Probably the biggest apartment market is the suburb of Glenelg North, and its median apartment price is 450,000. But what really stands out is what appears to be amazing growth in the median prices for apartment markets. Now, I would suggest that this is caused by development of new apartments, which are more expensive than perhaps the older stock, thereby lifting the median price. It doesn't mean values are growing to that degree, but nevertheless, what the figures show is that the median unit price in the last 12 months for the suburb of Glandore has risen 26%, Carralta Park has risen 31%, Plympton, the median apartment price is up 40%, and the median apartment price for the suburb of Marlston is up 49%, and then you've got Richmond up 17%. So those are remarkable growth figures, and as I say, it doesn't mean that property values are rising to that degree, but it does mean that there's building renaissance underway, and there's a higher standard, I think, of apartments being built, causing the rise in those median prices. But it's a pretty solid market overall. Low vacancies, good rental yields, affordable prices, particularly relative to the location close to the CBD. Now, in the CBD, there's all sorts of things happening. There's around the building projects that are expected to be completed this year in the Adelaide CBD total around $1 billion, and then there's another 2.9 billion of projects that are underway or soon to begin. So it's almost $4 billion worth of development happening in the CBD. We've also got the Australian Space Agency announced to be setting up its national headquarters in the Adelaide CBD on the site of the former site of the Adelaide Hospital. That's what they call Lot 14, an innovation hub that's being established there, and the state government has allocated $400 million towards the development of that Lot 14 in its most recent budget. We've also got factors like the international media and special effects company Technicolor has been very much involved for a long time, many decades, in the movie industry. It's moving its Australian national headquarters to Adelaide, and they're setting up shop in the CBD, initially generating 400 jobs. And it's very indicative of what's happening with Adelaide. It's seen as the high-tech innovation capital of Australia, and lots of major businesses like Technicolor and like Elon Musk's Tesla have moved their Australian headquarters to Adelaide for that reason. So a lot of that action is focused on Adelaide CBD. So we tend to think that the proximity of the West Torrens local government area to the CBD is a major benefit in terms of what's going to flow out of all those factors. Some big projects happening. The Festival Square project, which is under construction, retail commercial project, that's $1 billion project. There's the Adelaide GPO project. This is a $250 million commercial tower. Then there's the a hotel being built at Adelaide Casino, $330 million, and a whole lot more. There's quite a list of significant projects happening in and around the Adelaide CBD. There are hotels, commercial buildings, student accommodation buildings, and that all brings benefit to the nearest residential area, which is the local government area of West Torrens, where, as I said, Prices are pretty low by capital city standards relative to the location, and vacancies are extremely low. All the postcodes are 1.5% or less, including one that's 0 at the moment, according to figures from SQM Research. So a location well worth considering if you value a solid market offering great value for money, good rental yields and prospects for growth. West Torrens, just outside the CBD of Adelaide in South Australia. Okay, that's it for now. Terry Ryder from hotspotting.com.au signing off. If you're interested in finding out more, go to the hotspotting.com.au website and go to the location reports page. You'll find a report on West Torrens, or you can get our recently published top 5 Adelaide hotspots report also on the Hotspotting website. Okay, that's it for now. Let's do it again soon.